We're back, everybody! This is... You know what, let's say that I'm Joe, I'm Duke Mish, and this is Jeremy SSJ Rem, and this is... The Cup of Joe Show! How did you like that? You think the audience liked it?
I hope so.
We'll
how
find
how
out.
could you not?
The first episode was very well received, so we're back again for another episode on The Cup of Joe Show.
As you can see, Joe is worthy of wielding Mjolnir.
Yes, so this is also foreshadowing. We're foreshadowing right here, right now. It a very good movie thing to do in movies. I wish I could speak. Alright, we have lots to talk about today. We saw Prisoners last weekend, actually during the week. Not that that matters at all. We saw it. We saw the movie. So we're talking about that. We're talking about the box office. You know, everything that we talk about on the website, if you go and visit it. That is cupofjoe.com. A lot of great stuff there. But this is the show. So let's get right to it. Let's talk Prisoners. That was the last thing we saw. I just reviewed it. It is up on the website fresh, like 5 minutes ago. I just put it up. And I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was very well done. Everything I said on the show last time, you know, which if you watched it, I put it down. I thought it wasn't going to be that good. I wasn't impressed by the trailer. I thought Hugh Jackman was overacting. Wrong on all accounts. On pretty much, yes, no, all accounts. I was just completely wrong. It was great. I thought the cast was fantastic. You know, overall it was just a very thrilling film.
Oh, absolutely. It kind of skirts a line between thrilling and what's the word I'm looking? Not depressing, but like it just, you know, it gives you multiple feelings and emotions throughout the film, and it's very. It's a long movie, and at times it gets slow, but it allows you to get to really know the characters, so that you understand their motivations, you understand where they're coming from, and it allows you to follow them better on their journey and the places that it takes them.
It was absolutely me. Like, I don't know if you noticed, sitting right next to. I went with him, and sitting right next to him, and I kept doing this, and like, you know, I kept like. Just being like, muttering under my breath, like, no, no, oh my god, no. And just like readjusting my seat, going like this, getting closer, getting farther away. And it was nerve wracking. And like, that's what made it great. It was a very thrilling film. It was 2.5 hours long, but it didn't feel like 2.5 hours. I really thought it flew by. I didn't think there were any dead spots. It was great. All the way around. I mean, you can go through all these actors, and I didn't think of this beforehand, but you've got Hugh Jackman nominated for an Oscar, Terrence Howard nominated for an Oscar, Viola Davis nominated for 2 Oscars, Melissa Leo nominated for an nomination and victory in The Fighter. Am I missing anybody? No, I think that's it.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, right, he was nominated for an Oscar as well, though. Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And Jake Gyllenhaal was actually very good in his role.
Yes. Oh, he was excellent. There was one part that I was taken out of the movie slightly because I thought he was ridiculous. But other than that, he was very solid in that leading role, leading me to like root for him. I was in the theater. I was about to jump out of the seat and just be like, "Come on, Jake! You can do it! You can figure it out!" And like I was really like 10 seconds away from doing that, and luckily I stayed in my seat and didn't do that.
Would have been embarrassing.
That would have been pretty embarrassing for you, yeah, and me. All right.
But there's one more thought that I wanted to add in about Prisoners, and I liked that it was something that made sense about the title itself. Is that there's a theme of being imprisoned by certain emotions, like. Hugh Jackman, for instance, is like a prisoner to his like sense of like like vengeance and his sense of like justice, that he has to do this, that he has to find his children. And you can see in the movie that like, and his wife in the Hugh Jackman's wife in the movie gets like super depressed, so she's like imprisoned by her, her lassitude and everything, and she can barely get out of bed. And there are multiple other examples that I wouldn't want to go into without spoiling the movie, but I thought that was really cool.
It was. It's actually something that I didn't add into my blog, so that was a very good observation by you. I totally agree. And I ended up giving the movie 5 out of 5 cups. I wanted to give it less because I felt like there was something that I missed that just lacked about it. But I couldn't think of any gripes I had about that movie. It captured everything that it wanted, everything it was going for. It succeeded in doing so. So I couldn't come up with anything. Not even cast. Top to bottom, that cast was it was great. I had my doubts about that cast for the film, but top to bottom, it was good. Am I wrong?
No, I agree. I would probably give it 5 cups as well. Maybe 4.5. Right. But yeah, just top to bottom, very very realistic, very harrowing. Just you'll be into it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's thrilling from beginning to end. It was the most thrilling film of this year, hands down. That I saw, it was the most thrilling, absolutely. And I did skirt with giving it 4.5, and but I couldn't think of anything that was really wrong with it. So that was the film we saw this weekend. So now let's talk about the box office. I'll stop talking now, and I'll let you speak. Go ahead.
Okay, were we discussing last week's?
Yeah, last week's box office.
All right. Well, this is relevant enough. Prisoners did top the charts. It opened to a very solid 20 million, which was a little above my prediction that it would open in the mid-teens, and this is a very solid opening. It's nobody expected the film to set the records on fire or anything, but given this time of year can be very good for adult-driven dramas, and Joe and I were probably the youngest people in the theater when we saw Prisoners. Yeah, so definitely. It's and when a movie draws older people in, it tends to have better legs. The thing that worries me about Prisoners' long-term prospects is it will have competition, particularly in the form of Rush and maybe some other more adult movies. But all in all, I think it should have pretty decent legs. Might end up somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 to 85 million, which is really very strong. And now it's time for me to cheat once again to look at the rest of the box office.
All right. Well, in the meantime, let's see. What can I talk about? Did that give you enough time?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Good.
Thank you for stalling. Okay. The number 2 spot was Insidious 2, which was down 66% to just under 14 million, and has now made 60 million in total. That's a drop that's honestly, on the face of it, not that bad. When you look at things like The Purge, which fell like 75%, for opening as big as it did, especially inflated by the Friday the 13th, falling 66% is actually not that bad. And what Insidious Chapter 2 made last weekend is still more than the original made in its opening weekend, and it's already outgrossed the original, so big success there for all involved. The number 3 spot was The Family, which was down 50% to 7 million and has made 25. I don't really care.
Nor I. Continue.
Okay, the number 4 spot, rising from 6th to 4th and going up 11%, was Instructions Not Included. This film made 5.4 million and now has just under 34 million in the bank. After several weeks of trying to see if I could not find out what this movie is, I failed. And a friend of mine who saw it gave me a pretty detailed summary, so I now know what the movie is, because I had not seen one single lick of advertising, not a commercial, not a poster, not anything. I had no idea what this movie is. And apparently it's a mostly in Spanish comedy drama kind of thing about some guy who gets dumped with a woman's kids, and she doesn't want to raise them, and so he has to. And the instructions for raising children are not included.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So,
all right, I got it.
It's something like that. So, but anyway, this film has been quite the surprise success. I mean, especially considering that like Joe and I are movie buffs, we'd never heard of it, and it's come out of nowhere. So I mean, kudos to everyone involved with that. Finally, in fifth place, we have Battle of the Year, which made $4.6 million, and is pretty much a flop. That's not a surprise to anyone. And okay, that about wraps it up for the top 5.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, I'm thinking, Prisoner's doing very well there, I feel. And shockingly, I mean, we go on a Tuesday afternoon, and it's packed. The theater is packed. I kid you not. But I guess that's to be seen for an adult-driven film. People, older people have the opportunity to go at that time. So now let's move on to the upcoming weekend. And it fell, but you know what? We'll start with Rush, and that's right. Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth, stars in this very interesting flick.
Indeed. Formula One racing is not a very popular sport in America. So it's a bit of a tough sell, but I think the trailers have done very well to put Chris Hemsworth, who has become a big star, putting him front and center, and really making it, just putting the themes out there, where Chris Hemsworth's character is all like, I'm not afraid to die, like I'm a badass, so I'm gonna, just go out here and race, and pitting him against his rival, Niki Lauda, who is kind of his, like, he takes the opposite approach. He's a technician, he's very straight-laced, kind of, so, and, Ron Howard has directed some good films, so, a pretty good pedigree there.
Oh, definitely. I totally agree. This looks like it's going to be fantastic. I have pretty high expectations for this film. I've been seeing trailers for it for months now. And it looks great. I can't see anything wrong with it. I would even go as far as to say possible Oscar nominations. Oscar nominations for this film. I see nothing wrong with it. All right, so let's move on. I really like this weekend because we also have Don John coming out with Joseph Gordon-Levitt directing and writing his first film, I believe, unless I'm wrong on that.
First feature length. He might have directed some like small project or something.
Okay. Yeah. All right. First feature length film with Scarlett Johansson. That's always a good thing. And this one looks like it could be a pretty entertaining film. Love Joseph Gordon-Levitt, especially after his monster year last year. We came out with 3 films that I really enjoyed: The Dark Knight Rises, Looper, and even Premium Rush, which was not really a success, but it was a very entertaining film. So I'm really happy to see him again in something. I trust him. I have faith, and I think it's going to be a pretty good film.
Absolutely. That pretty much hits the nail on the head. It looks funny. Looks like it could have a little bit of charm too. The kind of movie that both if a couple goes to see, the girl and the guy are both gonna enjoy the movie. I think.
I totally agree. And what do we got? I mean, in a week when we have those 2 things, and then you have Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. I didn't see the first one, but it did very well. Got great reviews. Now we have a second one coming on. I have to admit the trailer looks pretty good. I laugh every time that little thing, I don't know, it just screams.
The leek.
There you go, the leek.
Apparently there's a vegetable or a fruit or something called a leek, which is spelled L-E-E-K, so it's a pun.
Yeah. So I think, and you think it has a pretty good concept, So
I love the concept, actually. I think it's very clever. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the original Cloudy, which I'm just going to call it for short, debuted to $30 million, which is pretty strong for September. And for the second one, it has a chance of opening to the largest amount ever for a September movie, a record currently held by last year's Hotel Transylvania at $42 million. So we have a shot at seeing a record here this weekend, but I'll lowball it a little and say that Cloudy will open to about 40.
All right. Have you predicted the others? Did you do that, or was I just not listening to you?
No, I think I forgot.
Okay,
but,
you want to predict them? Go ahead. Go for it.
Yeah, okay, I'll throw out 8 million for Don John.
Okay.
And I think Rush is only opening in a little over 2,000 theaters, so that's say 10. And there is one more movie, Baggage Claim.
Oh, yeah.
Some small comedy, something to do with airplanes or something. I'll say like 4 million.
That works. That works.
Yeah, it has the girl from Two Guns in it.
Oh, yeah, okay, yes. And the guy from Gladiator, the black guy. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Dion Hutsu or something.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know who you mean.
It's weird because he's a badass in like every other movie, and now he seems to be in this like romantic comedy. So we won't see this one. If you do, I hope you enjoy it. Otherwise, I think that about does it here at Cup of Joe, unless you want to come up with anything else.
No, I think we covered everything.
All right, that's cupofjoe.com. I'm sorry for the inconvenience of the dash. It's just the way it is.
Oh, and we'll put links to the website and all of our social media things in the description below.
Oh, definitely. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and do whatever you do on Tumblr. I've got to figure it out. I think it's follow as well. So you can reach us at all those things. Hope you enjoyed the show. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and go see a movie.